welcome Tony Hale.
Such an honor being here.
Oh my God, the entire building is so excited to have you here. Tony Hale, comedic genius.
Oh, it comes from so nice. It comes from so much pain.
Yes, I assume so. It always does.
Yeah.
It always does. You have played some of the most iconic roles in TV. Gary in Veep, Buster Bluth in Arrested Development.
Oh, thank you.
Do you ever go back and watch old episodes of Veep just to remember what things could be like if we had competent adults in charge?
Interesting. Do you know what? I actually love when people come up and say they like the show and remind me of bits, because I don't. Somebody once said, they said, "Oh, I loved that bit when because my hand was eaten off by a seal in the show."
Sure.
And I was in the hospital, and I said, I love that bit when the doctor says he's gonna be okay. And somebody had to remind me that it said, no, he said he's gonna be all right, meaning he just has a right arm. Yeah, and this was a joke I got 15 years after I shot the show. You know, it was so layered.
But that's what makes both of those shows actually so incredible, is they're jokes on jokes on jokes, and you do kind of have to rewatch multiple times to catch everything.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about your creative process. I'm just so curious because these characters that you've played, so many of them are real oddballs, very specific, quirky characters.
Yeah.
And in
I
any
just started crying right now. And you'd be like, oh, that's where it's from.
Yes, let's push in. He's getting emotional. But almost in any other hands, they would be played in this kind of like broad, over-the-top way. But what I love about your acting so much is you're so grounded, and you're so truthful, and you really root for these characters. So what is your process like? Do you improvise? Do you get into a physicality?
Yeah, I remember. It's very nice to say.
It's just true.
My therapist be like, oh, I've got some stories. But I remember on Arrested, I remember asking Mitch Hurwitz a very actory question. I said, what does Buster want? And he goes, all he wants is safety. And so I thought about Buster, and that's why he would always go in the back. Like, he would always be in this kind of like defensive place. And because he was always like, what's coming at me? And he was just always kind of like, just looking around, like what's happening. So he was always kind of checking out, and we're always worried someone's gonna come at him.
Oh, that's so fascinating.
He was so codependent.
Yes.
There was a scene. There's a scene where my mom, Lucille Walter, Jessica Walter. Her name was Lucille.
Yeah.
One and the same. But she was on house arrest and she couldn't smoke. And she asked Buster to inhale the smoke out of her mouth and then exhale it on the balcony. And then he would like breathe, and then I would come back and I would inhale the smoke again, like a baby bird getting a worm out of a mother.
Yes.
And it was such a picture of codependency, you know, it was just like so twisted but so fun.
Oh, that Mitch Hurwitz.
And
so
I have asthma too, by the way. Full on asthma.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Never quite recovered from that.
No.
Hence the therapy.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this new movie that you have now, Sketch.
Yeah.
I heard it described as Jurassic Park meets Inside Out.
Yes.
It's such a fascinating movie. It's
thanks.
so great. How do you describe it?
Well, this movie's taken us 8 years to get made. And my friend Seth Worly, the writer and director, who is so talented, he had this idea. It actually came from his situation that his sister was in growing up, where his sister was drawing these really dark pictures, and his parents took her to a therapist because they were worried. And it was a bullying situation. And the therapist asked her, do you want these things to happen to this bully? And she was honest, and she said, kind of. And the therapist said, well, I think it's a good idea that you drew them rather than left it blank. You know, that you were creative and put it on paper rather than keeping it up here where it festers and that gets dark. And so that's where this story came from. I play a worried dad who's, seeing these pictures, and then something happens where the pictures come to life. And it talks about, and in the movie, my wife has passed away, so it's all these kind of things of kids. She's actually processing her feelings, and I'm kind of compartmentalizing them. Actually, there's a new term. You've heard of helicopter parenting, where you kind of.
No, never heard of it. Do you need more water?
Gosh, so surreal. But
Here's a tissue.
This is really happening. But there's a new term called snowplow parenting, where you want to remove the challenges completely from your kids, which I totally relate to. I have a 19-year-old, and seeing my kid have to go through stuff and her feeling feelings, you're like, but she has to walk through that stuff to grow. And my character in the movie wanted to compartmentalize. And so he learned, like, we got to process these feelings. We got to walk through it.
It's such a beautiful message at the heart of it. And I have a 9-year-old son at home, and I loved watching this movie with him.
Yeah.
And it was I think it was helpful for him to hear, but really more for me to hear. How do I talk to my child about processing feelings like that? And you spend the whole movie being concerned about your daughter when you also have a son who's kind of doing the same thing that your character's doing, holding all of his feelings
and trying
inside.
to fix things,
Yeah, and Darcy Carden is also in the movie.
And Darcy Carden from The Good Place. And, I mean, she's so fun and kind. And, I mean, like when you're working with other you're so talented, and it's like when you're working with other comic actors, you feel that you're so amazing. Your timing is tight.
No, let's go.
But it's like you have that trust that you can kind of have that comic dance together. And Darcy was perfect. So she plays my sister in the movie.
And she's so great in it. And she has my favorite quote in the movie. She says to you at some point when you're fretting over your daughter, she says, "I think you should stop worrying about the girls who are busy drawing about their pain and worry more about the boys who are ignoring theirs."
Yeah.
And I thought, that is why.
No. It's also, I mean, if you think about it, and you talk about it on the show all the time, there's a lot of finger pointing. Well, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. It's like, let's start pointing the finger back at ourselves.
Yeah.
Also, this is a really fun family adventure.
It is. It's very funny.
Silly movie.
It is very funny. It is a feel-good movie. It is funny, but important messaging.
Important messaging.
And really timely, if you ask me.
Very timely, yeah.
How did it feel this is your baby. You've been producing it for, like you said, 8 years.
It's great, and it's also that feeling of like, take care of my kid. It's because we champion it. Championing?
Sure.
Okay, we'll go with that.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. Thank you. But for so long, and seeing it, even like getting cast together and finally finding financing and the post of it, you saw the special effects are so specific. But getting it out there, it's a pretty vulnerable feeling. But I'm so stoked, guys. It's so good. I'm so stoked for people to see it. So good.
Because this movie is about channeling your feelings through art, through drawing, and those drawings coming to life, with things being as polarized as they are right now, culturally, politically, if you could draw anything that would come to life, what would you choose to draw?
Okay, what's super sad is I was just asked this question, and I'm not kidding. The first thing that came to my mind was a McFlurry from McDonald's. Yeah, and they said, Tony, you can get one of those. And I thought, do I want a relationship with it? Like, I didn't know what I was trying to do, but that was the first thing. I like a McFlurry, and I'd like to see a McFlurry come to life. In addition to a big hug that hugs the world.
Yes.
That's me. Thank
a big
you.
hug that hugs the world.
Just a big hug that hugs the world.
I was going to say myself on a unicorn, but I think a big hug that hugs the world. That's a much better answer. Well, here's
kind of daunting.
Here's I'll take it. I'd say we could use it right now.
Yes.
Congratulations on the movie.
Oh,
Here is to a big hug that hugs the world.
Thank you. I thought you were about to give me a